In Deuteronomy 8 verse 18, love this verse. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you what? God is the one who gives you the ability to produce wealth. And He leaves it up to you. If you were born poor, it doesn't mean that you will always be poor. Say amen, church. When God says, you know what I mean? Even if you were born poor, you can grow old and rich and generous. Amen? Do not say it is fate. Kapalaran ko. Do not say that. No! God leaves it up to you. He gives you the ability to produce wealth. Here's the second thing that you need to overhaul. The first thing you need to overhaul is theology of money. The second thing you've got to overhaul is your psychology of money. Say psychology. You and I have a psychology of money about ourselves. You know, people look at themselves in a particular way concerning money. Let me tell you a story. When I was growing up as a small boy, I remember there was this woman who came to the house and visited my mother, maybe about twice a week. Every time this woman had a need, she would go to my mother, and my mother would give her. She would say, Mommy, I have my daughter's tuition fee is coming, and so my mother would give. 2 weeks later, she would come back. Mom, I broke my tooth, and I don't have money for dentures. Can you give me money? And so my mother would give. The next 2 weeks, my daughter's PE, she doesn't have rubber shoes. Do you have some? And my mother would give money. Every 2 weeks, you know. After a while, that woman, she went to the house for years. And then after that, she died. After that, it was the daughter who was coming every 2 weeks. We have no food. Can you? Thank you. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, she'd come back. And then she had a son. And she would bring the son along. He doesn't have rubber shoes for his PE. And so on. And then after a while, it was the son. It was the grandson was coming now, because he was a little bit older. 3 generations, 20 years, no change. No matter how much money you give. Brothers and sisters, please understand, the psychology of that family in 3 generations did not change. Their psychology was small. So small. I'm poor. I'm poor. I'll always be poor. My son will be poor. My grandson will be poor. You got what I'm saying? And sometimes parents were guilty of that. We tell our kids we're poor. Our little boy is with us in the department store. And the little boy says, Mommy, can we buy that toy? No! That's for the rich. We are poor. We are poor. Say that with me. Say it with me, son. I am poor. I am poor. That's it. Say it again. I am poor. Very good. We are poor. Don't even look at those toys. Don't! And so this boy is growing up. I am poor. I am poor, you know. And he looks at a nice, expensive thing. I will not look at that. I am poor. That's not for me. You know, it's a psychology that will trap, strangulate any kind of blessing that God would like to give that person. Here's my problem. The whole Philippines has a culture of psychological poverty. Believe me, the Pinoy looks at himself as poor. Bahay kubo kahit munti. What's our national flower? Sampagita. What's our national bird? Maya-maya. Puro maliliit. Can we not have the national bird, the Davao bald eagle? I mean, you know, big and strong, and there's something funny about the Pinoy. That we need to break that. Put your hands over your chest. Say this with me. I'm wealthy and generous. I'm wealthy and generous. Say that every morning, please. And before you sleep and during the day, just I am wealthy and generous. Just break that culture of taught to us by I don't know how many years of oppression. So many people have told us to be holy, you've got to be poor. To be close to God, you've got to be poor. To be a good person, you've got to be poor. Break that. Break that, please. I want you to know how much God has blessed me financially, and how God, I'm telling you something, I have become a better person as God has blessed me financially. I have become a better person to my wife and to my kids because of the financial blessing. You know, it's not true that when you get rich, you'll be a terrible person. That's not true. Amen? Here's the actions, the strategies that you need to take. Let's go over them as quickly as we can. Action number 1, the truly rich tithe to the Lord and are generous to the poor. Brothers and sisters, when the salary comes, the commission comes, the profit comes, do not do this. Okay, thank you, sir, from the ATM. Thank you, salary. Thank you, Meralco, Nawasa, the water, the bill, the credit cards, the marketing. And then whatever is left, you give to the Lord. Don't do that. Tell someone beside you, don't do that. When God must be given the first fruits, when you receive your salary, the first thing you do is you give to God. Amen? That's what you need to do. And my model is the biblical model of 10%. That's a great model to follow. Give 10% of your income to the Lord. Every time. And guess what happens? He's going to, it's a natural law. The law of reciprocity. What you give, you shall receive 100-fold. Amen? Action number 2. The truly rich strive to learn more and surround themselves with. You want to grow your money? You've got to have mentors. Brothers and sisters, listen to me very carefully. If you want to earn 200,000 pesos a month, please do not talk to someone who earns only 20,000 a month. It won't work. If you want to earn 500,000 pesos a month, do not talk to someone who's only earning 50,000 pesos a month. You've got to talk to someone who's actually doing it already. If you want to become a businessman, you want to start your own business, don't talk to another employee. I don't care if he's your father or your uncle or your cousin. You don't go to someone who's not a businessman, who's an employee, and you say, "Excuse me, Uncle, I'm thinking of starting a business." No! You lose your money! Ay, naku! Why, Uncle? I tried it already, doesn't work. Don't do that. Just stay in your. You got what I'm saying? My father was a great employee. And my father is my mentor, my life mentor. But when I wanted to start my business, I didn't ask his advice because he would not know what to say. He was an employee. I had to, even if he was an executive of a huge company, he was not an entrepreneur. I had to go to a successful entrepreneur to be my mentor. Is that clear? So get a mentor. Here's action number 3. The truly rich strive for financial goals, magic goals. Why magic? It's here. You get the explanation here in the Novena to God's Love. And I wrote it down. What does magic mean? Write it down. Write your goal here and say, this is what I want. This is the financial goal that I want. Brothers and sisters, you might say, Brother Bo, I'm graduate na ako dyan. I'm not anymore, looking for greater money, more income. Brother Bo, I just want to be simple. And brothers and sisters, that attitude can come from 2 sources. Ask me what source. That idea of, I want to just remain as I am. I don't want to have financial goals anymore. That may come from 2 sources. The first one is this: contentment. Say contentment. Contentment is important. But maybe, everybody say that, maybe. It can come from the other source. What's the other source? Ask me what? Selfishness. Selfishness. You're earning 10,000 pesos a month. You can, if you improve yourself, learn a new skill, get a mentor, get training, improve your financial literacy. You can start earning 20 or 30 or 50,000 pesos a month. You can if you put your heart to it. But you say, no, I'll just be content with 10. It can come from selfishness. Can you imagine what you can do with the blessing of having more than enough?
Thank you so much for your monthly tithes and love offering to the Rigmo family, without which this broadcast won't be possible. We know that God will reward you abundantly for your generosity. God bless you.